here's an interesting lesson that I learned. Be really careful the goals you set. And what I mean by that is you need to really look at what the position looks like, or what it looks like, what your life is going to look like if you achieve that goal, and get really, really clear about what it is. Because when I set the goal, I sat at a conference with Infusionsoft about 4 or 5 years ago, and we were in this training session, and they said, what I want you to do is I want you to write on a piece of paper exactly how much money you want to make in 2 years. And I was like, I didn't know any better. I was just like, I want to make $83,333 a month. Why? Because that's $1 million a year, and that's what my ego wanted at the time. Now, fast forward, and if you look at that, I started working towards that goal. I started working to achieve that goal. But what I didn't realize is that the person who is in that position, running a digital marketing agency, making that amount of money, is not the calendar that I want. It's not the lifestyle that I want. It's not the lifestyle that I wanted to lead. And when I got there, or at least when I got close, I realized, oh crap, this isn't what I want, right? Like, I don't want meetings upon meetings and upon meetings all day, every day, not living in my soul's purpose. And the other side of it too is that when you're doing a marketing agency, you're providing a service for somebody. You're getting paid for that service, right? But that was also an amazing experience, because what I realized is that the majority of the value that I was giving, the majority of what kept my clients on, the majority of what they enjoyed with me were the one-on-one calls that I was doing, because I was doing coaching and training and mindset and messaging and all of these things that I wasn't actually charging somebody for. I was like, yeah, I'll do an SEO program for you for whatever. And then every single call ends up being a personal development coaching call. And I just didn't realize that that was actually my soul's purpose and my soul's intent. And I was hiding behind marketing services, so I didn't have to put myself out there. I didn't have to create a personal brand. I didn't have to be the brand, which is something I coach people on now. I didn't have to be the brand, because I could hide behind the idea that I had all these services and I had all these things, and then I could sit in my freaking house and smoke weed all the time, which is basically what I was doing, and just get on the calls that I needed to do. And it was rather unhealthy. But I mean, I was making okay money. The funny part is I don't make that much revenue anymore, but I still have the same amount of profit, the same amount of income. Because when you're running an agency that's making that much, you're paying a lot of people.
Yeah.
So one of the things I train people on, like, that was a journey that I absolutely needed to go through. But one of the things that I train people on is the idea that if you ever decide to move to what I call the meta level is the level above what you're doing right now. It's moving from a producer to a coach or trainer. Right. Mm-hmm. So when you're moving to a meta level, a lot of times the best person that we have the ability to influence or persuade is somebody that's dealt with the problems that we've experienced in the past. So when you're looking to become a coach or trainer or mentor, or if you're going to create something like a high ticket offer or something where you know that you can provide massive results on either a one-to-one basis or a one-to-many basis, like the mastermind that I run, the best people for you to do that for are somebody who's gone through the similar or the same hero's journey that you had gone through in the past. What I mean by that is, like, I know what it's like. I know what it's like to be a producer. I know what it's like to work the 12-hour days. I know what it's like for the clock for the bank account or for your pipeline to go to zero every single day, meaning that you don't have any recurring revenue, or you don't have the holy grail of business, which is kind of money coming in without having to work for it. Right. So when you think through like real estate investing, the holy grail is creating properties and owning them and holding them and then turning them into rental properties, so you have cash flow coming in over a long period of time. Mm-hmm. That's the holy grail. But with a marketing agency or with services or things like that, that's the reason that you see people, not with marketing agency service, but with like things like mortgage or things like real estate or things like those. Every time you just have to continue being a producer. You have to continue producing. You have to continue producing, and you're not creating anything that's going to create long-lasting, eternal wealth for you or your family. So when I was miserable like that a couple of years ago, I set out on a journey to try and start living a balanced lifestyle. And what I mean by a balanced lifestyle is find a way to create the biggest fortune I could for myself and create the most recurring revenue for me over the next several years. Also, to have the most fun that I can have in my life, to have the best family relationships that I have in my life, to have the fittest body that I've ever had in my life. So about 5 or 6 years ago, I became a CrossFit athlete and a CrossFit level 1 trainer. And then to have, like I said, I break it down in 5 categories. Foundation, which is like your mindset, your philosophy, the faith in whatever God you believe in. For me, it was Christianity. So your faith or your foundation and philosophy is one category. Your second category is your fitness, because what's the point of being rich if you don't have a good body to live in, or if you're going to die when you're 50? Your family, so your relationships with yourself and with others, your fortune, and your fun. So if you start to optimize those 5 categories, you can get to a place in your life where you can live a balanced lifestyle, and you have to start working on each one of these areas. So I set on a mission to start doing that. And that's actually one of the things that I coach and train people on now too, because I've done it rather successfully. I'm in the best shape of my life. I have the best business I've ever had. I'm in some of the best relationships